Hello everyone, my name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. Today we are here to talk all about the books I want to read in the month of March. March is a very exciting month for me. It is my birthday month. I also just recently learned it is National Social Worker Month, and it is also the month where I have March break. And so I have a lot more time on my hands and a lot more energy than I usually do, so I'm very excited for this month. Because it is my birthday month, I want to give myself a little bit more flexibility in what I am reading, so I only have a couple of books on my TBR. What usually happens around this time is that I tend to want to reread some books, like my favorites, and so I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway. If you guys are waiting for the return of CANDYLAND Makes Your TBR, it should be back in April, fingers crossed if everything goes well, so it should be my last month with a standard TBR. Now, without further ado, let's just hop on into the books I want to read this month. The first book on my TBR goes with the one and only readathon I will be taking part in this month, which is Becca's bookoplathon. For this round, we are doing a 48-hour readathon, which will be completely live. A lot of Becca's friends and other fellow booktubers will be hosting lives, and so during the 48 hours, there's always something that will be going on. We have seen some of the first prompts which are happening for this readathon, and so one of them is to read a book with a black cover, and I decided to go with The Stud Next Door by Kendall Ryan. If you've been following my channel, you would know I recently discovered Kendall Ryan and absolutely loved The Penthouse Prince, which is the first book I read by her. This is another single-parent romance, and it follows a man who has a child. I don't know where the mom fits in this picture, and I believe he moves and the next door neighbor actually becomes the nanny. He realizes there is obviously a void in his life and maybe he would like more of a feminine presence, and ends up falling in love with the nanny. If it is anything like The Penthouse Prince, I'm sure it's going to be light and fluffy with a little bit of a harder hitting topics here and there, and also double perspective, which is my favorite thing in books. I'm pretty sure, yes, it is indeed multiple perspective, and it's clearly a dark cover, so it works for a prompt. It's short and sweet, and I think it'll get me going for the 48-hour readathon. So this is one of the books I am going to read. Obviously, for one of the other prompts I think is to read a fantasy, and then you cannot plan in advance because the prompts will be given with dice rolls during the 48-hour lives. So this is what I'm going with. I don't know what I'm doing for my fantasy yet. We then have a book which I'm very, very afraid to read, but I feel like it is the time to do so, and that is Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the fourth and final book in the series, and if you have seen any of my videos before, you would know Stalking Jack the Ripper, which let me get for you. This bad boy is my favorite book ever, part of a book series. I am trash for this. I have reread this 4 or 5 times, and this is probably a book I see myself picking up during my birthday month as a pleasure read, and one of the reasons why my TBR is so small, because I'm giving myself leeway to read this. I haven't read this once, and I've read this 4 times. I'm just so afraid and so sad that this is the last book in the series. If you don't know what this series is about, it follows a main character named Audrey Rose, and this is set kind of in a historical fiction world where we go back in the past. I think it's the Victorian era, but I'm never really sure. It's, when ladies dressed like this and you had to court each other and you needed a chaperone to go on dates. Audrey Rose is our main protagonist, and she is very into everything that has to do with forensic sciences, and is an apprentice under her uncle where they do autopsies and study why people have died. Audrey Rose's uncle also has another apprentice who is named Thomas Creswell, and together, the three of them, in the first book, try to solve the Jack the Ripper murders. So there are historical events that are put into this book, and they have a fictional twist. Obviously, there is also a romance between Audrey Rose and Thomas, and each of the books goes on to kind of figure out the mysteries behind other historical events, such as Dracula. The second book is Hunting Prince Dracula. The third book is dealing with Houdini, and I believe this one is the Whitechapel murders. All the other books are set in the UK, I think, and then during the third book they are on a cruise ship coming to America, and in this final book we get to see Thomas and Audrey Rose in America. The third book left off with some pretty intense events, and I cannot wait to see the repercussions on this, and I believe Audrey Rose and Thomas get married at the end of Capturing the Devil, so catch me being a mushy mess in one of my weekly reading vlogs. So if you're not subscribed, I would recommend doing so just to see my reactions to this book. I've also ordered more tabs off of Amazon to prepare for my reading experience with this one. Another book which I think I'm going to love and tab the heck out of is The Spanish Love Deception. This is actually written by the Bibliothèque on Instagram, who has a very big following and promotes a lot of romance novels. This is her own romance novel that was recently published, and when I mean recently, like the last week of February, kind of recent. And I have been following her for years, and when she's discussed her writing process, I just knew this book would definitely be up my alley. This is a pretty chunky romance book. However, I feel like I'm going to devour this. This is fake dating enemies to lovers, a slow burn with a love interest that seems to be out of my dreams. I just cannot wait. This is a book about a young woman who I believe had a boyfriend, and he kind of flakes on her, and she needs to find someone to accompany her to a wedding in Spain. And so in comes Aaron, who volunteers himself, and I believe that is obviously fake dating enemies to lovers. And I just think with the little snippets I've seen on Instagram and all the reviews that I'm going to fall head over heels for this story. I think I might be an emotional mess, and I love supporting indie published authors, especially when it's a creator that I love, and I have a feeling this will be like one of the top books I read this year, and I am incredibly excited to do so. Let me know in the comments if you would like a review for this book once I finished it, and so I can kind of identify if it's worth picking up for you guys. We then have I Think I Love You by Oriane Dezombe. This is a March 2nd release, so it kind of releases on the day you're seeing this. I got my pre-orders early for some of the March 2nd releases. This is a YA LGBTQ novel that has a dual perspective narrative, and it follows two different girls who are very different. One of them is very romantic and loves love, and the other is more pragmatic. The entire story really focuses on both our main characters trying to create a film together to enter the Los Angeles Film Festival, and I think they fall in love while creating this movie. It is a pretty short novel with a stunning, absolutely stunning cover, and obviously it will explore the themes of like exploring your sexuality. I think I've seen a lot of great early reviews and am very much looking forward to a shorter YA novel. And the last book on my TBR that I really need to get to is Bridge of Souls, which is another March 2nd release, and the book I will be probably starting the month out with. This is the third novel in the Cassidy Blake series, which is Victoria Schwab's middle grade series. It follows a main character named Cassidy who drowned and was brought back to life by this ghost. Ever since then, she's been best friends with this ghost named Jacob, and can also see through a veil where she could see the dead. Essentially, she can see ghosts. Her parents also have a TV show where they travel to some of the most haunted places in the world and kind of document the area and what people think they have seen and all the ghost stories surrounding it. They, however, do not know that our main character can actually see ghosts, and so we follow our main character through all of these haunted places and all the crazy adventures she goes on. I love these books. This is the third one, as I mentioned. The first book was in Edinburgh, the second one was in Paris, and this one is set in New Orleans, and I really cannot wait to read it. Obviously, I'm probably gonna reread some books, like maybe I'll reread Stalking Jack the Ripper. I may also reread Listen to Your Heart, which is one of my favorite contemporaries by Casey West, which I love to listen and read to. I might also reread When It's Real by Aaron Watt, which again is one of my favorite kind of new adult novels. This one has like someone's famous kind of trope. I might reread Nevermore because I got myself a pretty UK copy in the mail for my birthday. who knows what the rest of the reading month will bring, but that's kind of what's happening. So this month there's Becca's bookoplathon that I'm taking part in. I also know that it's middle grade March and also like mystery March or something like that, so I might try and throw in a thriller or more middle grade. I'm just leaving the space open so I can mood read. So that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys are reading for March and if you're taking part in any readathons. And if you're not sure how to answer any of those questions, leave me a Dello emoji in the comments and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye guys, happy reading!